Hari Om, everybody. Good morning. Let's get started. Om. Om Ganana Tva Ganapati Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastramam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashunvannutibhissedasadhanam Om Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinivati Dhinamavidyavat Om Ganeshaya Namaha Om Saraswatyai Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Shanno Mitrasham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Bruhaspatihi Shanno Vishnu Rurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadbhaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Bhaktaram Om Shanti 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 Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah Stirairangaistushtvagum sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitayadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedah Swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspatir dadhatu Om Shanti 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 Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Vagishadya Sumanasaha Sarvartanam Upakrame Yamnatva Krutakrityasyuhu Tam Namami Gajananam Tvakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणे विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमम् देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषम् पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिम् व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलम् सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् यस्य सन्निधिमात्रेण सर्वे शिष्याश्च सेवकाः कर्मक्षेत्रे प्रवर्तन्ते चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम् चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम् चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम् Hari Om everybody, welcome back. Let's recap from the beginning. In the first two classes we had learned several aspects of our culture, our Adhyatmika Samskriti, our spiritual culture, our Bhautika Samskriti, material culture, in general about our pursuit of happiness. And most importantly, in the first module, we learnt about Shreya Preya Viveka, the path of the pleasant and the path of the good. Then we started learning about the classification of our Shastras, our scriptures. Shruti, Smruti, Itihasa, Purana. And we also learned that Vedas, our source book, is the basis of our culture. It is called as Apurusheya Grantha, not a man-made entity. And we learned that there are 4 Vedas: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvana Veda. And there are 3 subdivisions in each of the Vedas called Karma, Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, and Jnana Kanda. Their purpose is mainly for purification of mind, Chitta Shuddhi, and single pointed focus, Chitta Ekagrata, leading to the knowledge of the self. And then we went into module 3, where we learnt about our Karma Siddhanta, which forms the basis for reincarnation in Hinduism. We learnt several types of karma, and we learnt how to divinize our actions. That is to turn karma to karma yoga. We learnt kayaka karma, vachika karma, manasika karma, to do puja, japa, and chintana with our body, mind, and intellect equipment. Then we learned how to divinize our emotions, bhakti, making the mind single pointed to gain that chitta ekagrata. Learned a little bit about upasana, leading from saguna sakara brahma to nirguna nirakara brahman. Then in module 4, we learnt about Jnana Kanda, the knowledge portion of the Vedas. It is also called as Upanishads. It's also called as Vedanta. That is our topic on hand. We learnt the meaning of Upanishads, the significance of Guru Shishya Parampara. We learnt a little bit about Shad Darshanas, the 6 schools of Vedanta. We learnt about our 3 sources, the Prasthana Trayi, the Shruti Prasthana, the Smruti Prasthana of Bhagavad Gita, and Nyaya Prasthana of Brahma Sutras. In that module, we also touched upon the 4 sample Mahavakya, the definition statements leading to the ultimate reality of Brahman. In our symbolism topic during that module, we learnt about the temple, the burning of the camphor, and all that. And then we covered the 4 aspects of the deity that we worship. And we took the examples of Lord Narayana, and we took the example of Lord Shiva. We learnt a little bit about our Dharma Shastra of Manusmriti. How in Dharma it has to meet that 4 criteria, the Chaturvida Lakshana of Dharma. We learnt about Sanatana Dharma, a set of universal values, and we outlined about 10 of those values. We learnt a little bit about Vanaprastha-shrama Dharma, Varnashrama Dharma, Varnashrama Dharma. Then the meaning of the Dhyana Shloka in that module of Vishnu Sahasranama. In the last module, we covered about the three gunas. Now we are on the self-inquiry. How the tamoguna, rajoguna, and sattva-guna, how they veil our divinity, our divine nature. Then we talked a lot about the varnashrama dharma, understood the broad classification of Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra based on the guna and karma, not janma karma vibhagasha. From this Bhagavad Gita 4-13. We understood in that module how the body, mind, intellect equipment that we have is jada, inert. I took you through the details of the BMI chart and how the self, which is of the nature of Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa, is veiled because of our vasanas, our innate tendencies, which gives us a sense of limitation and finitude. So that led to the topic of Panchakosha Viveka. The 5 sheets, as though they cover the self. I introduced you to that topic, and in the symbolism topic, we talked about Lord Shiva. That's about a quick recap. And now, today, that leads us to the topic of that Panchakosha Viveka. There are 5 sheets that veil the self. In this diagram that I showed you, Atman, or the Supreme Self, represented by the symbol Om, is covered by 5 layers, the concentric circle showing that layers of matter enveloping the Atman. They are called as koshas or sheets, as though they're not actual coverings, but as though they have covered. They are called as food sheet, Annamaya kosha. Number 2, Pranamaya kosha or vital air sheet. Number 3 is Manomaya kosha or mental sheet. Number 4 is Vijnanamaya kosha or intellectual sheet. And the innermost is the Anandamaya kosha or bliss sheet. Kosha actually means covering, sheet. Koshavat achyadati tasmat koshaha. For example, scabbard of the sword, it covers the sword. It is of the same shape as the sword. What it does, it indicates the presence of the sword. Though it covers the sword from one side, but you know there is the sword inside it. And we must also note that the scabbard is always different from the sword and does not affect the sword in any way. Similarly, the self is covered by these 5 sheets. The food sheet, the vital air sheet, the mental sheet, intellectual sheet, and the bliss sheet. As though Atman is covered by these 5 layers of matter, because of which I think, I see, I think, I feel, and in every statement I make indicates the presence of I. The functioning of the sheets proves the presence of the self. But they cover the true nature of the self. And as we study Vedanta, the 5 sheets are my own making. I got identified with them. I feel I am bound by them. Now, in this module, let us find out how we discover our true nature, which is beyond these 5 sheets. And the first sheet is called as Annamaya Kosha, or the food sheet. It is that outermost precinct of our personality, beyond which we do not physically exist. That is our outermost precinct. It is produced by the regenerative fluids of our parents. These are nothing but the transformations of annam, or food, that is consumed by them. And then it is nourished in the womb by the food that the mother eats. It continues to exist and is sustained by the food eaten by the individual, and ultimately, after its death, it goes back to become the food for worms and plants and so on. In fact, the body, as we know, gets eaten by virus and bacteria even when we are alive. So, in summary, Annamaya Kosha the outermost precinct, the grosser of the 5 sheets, is born out of Annam, sustained by Annam, and when it perishes, becomes Anna. Adyate atti cha bhutani tasmat annam tad uchyate iti, says Taittiriya Upanishad. Hence it is called Annamaya Kosha. The word Maya, the Mayat Pratyaya in Anna, Annamaya means modification of Anna. When the self identifies with this sheet, I say, I am a man, I am a woman, I am fat, I am lean, I am tall, I am short, all sorts of body identification. I identify myself by the color of my skin. All attributes of the body becomes me in that identification. So the food sheet, Annamaya Kosha, consists of 5 organs of perception called Gnanendriyas and 5 organs of action, Karmendriyas. The 5 organs of perception are ears, skin, eyes, tongue, and nose. Shrotram, Tvak, Chakshuhu, Rasana, Granam. And the 5 organs of action, Karmendriyas, or organs of speech, hands, legs, genital organ, and organs of evacuation. Vak, Pani, Padav, Payu, Upastha. The next sheet, which is inner to the subtler than the food sheet, is the vital air sheet. Pranamaya Kosha. It is subtler than the food sheet. The 5 pranas or Vayu Vikara, which controls the physiological function of the body, are called pranas. Prana, Apana, Udana, Samana, Vyana. Prana is the one that controls the respiration, both inhalation and exhalation. Apana, the evacuation and rejection, is taken care of by apana. They take care of all of the body excreta, such as feces, urine, perspiration. All excretory functions are taken care of by apana vayu. Then you have udana. All the reactions or reverse processes are done by udana. Examples like vomiting, burping, shedding tears, sneezing. All these are functions of udana vayu. It is also believed that udana helps in capacity to entertain and assimilate new thoughts. This gives us the capacity to acquire new knowledge. And Udana Vayu also is believed to help in ejecting the subtle body at the time of death to find another body. Then the next Vayu Vikara is Samana. Samana is in charge of assimilation of digested food. It gets it to the different parts of the body. And Vyana helps in circulation of blood, nourishment to every cell of the body. That is the function of the Vyana. So these 5 pranas are vital to life. They function very quietly from birth to death, even when we are asleep. They function. Even if one of them were to stop completely, we would die. So when pranas function efficiently, the body remains healthy. The sense organs are keen. The organs of actions are sharp. And the mind is alert. If any of the elements of prana malfunction, the body gets ill, imbalanced. Hence, there is so much emphasis given in yoga to pranayama. One can control the mind temporarily, regulate the heartbeat, etc. One key thing with pranas or they work quietly. You know, they always say, whenever you're performing your things in the community, they compare it to the pranas. You have to work quietly behind the scenes. Fortunately for us, we don't have to learn how to breathe, how to digest our food. Imagine our situation with all the junk we eat and put in our bodies. We had control over our digestion also. We wouldn't have time to do nothing else. If somebody were to ask, we say, hold on a minute, I'm trying to digest my food. Thank God for that. So the 5 pranas, along with 5 organs of action, are called pranamaya kosha. When we identify with our pranas, we say, I am hungry, I am thirsty, I need a drink, etc. So far, we have covered Annamaya Kosha, the outer precinct. We have covered Pranamaya Kosha, the vital air sheath. And the third one, we are going to go to Manomaya Kosha, or the mental sheath. The mental sheath consists of mind, along with the 5 organs of perception called Gnanendriyas. Mind is the seat of thoughts in a state of volition. Sankalpa vikalpatmakaha manaha. Mind is also a seat of emotion, like anger, jealousy, compassion, love, are all emotional expressions of the mind. So what mind does is to go out. Let me see if I have the BMI chart here. Yeah, mind, it goes out through the senses to the outer world to perceive an object or to receive a stimuli. The sense organs themselves cannot receive any stimuli on their own without the mind being behind it. For example, I'm sitting in front of a traffic light. It has turned red. Then I'm sitting in my car. But my mind has gone somewhere else, thinking about and brooding over something else. My eyes are open, and although the traffic light has turned green, I am sitting there until I get another stimuli like a honk from behind. My mind wakes up and comes back to where I am. Then I wake up and see and realize that it has turned green. So the organs of action responds to the world through the mind. Actually, I will have about half a module of class to talk about mind, its control, with some more points. So, since we are on the topic of Manomaya Kosha, identified with the mental sheath, I say I am happy. I say I am sad or I am unhappy. These are identification of the self with Manomaya Kosha. Some say mind is matter. Typically, scientists say that. Some say mind is no matter, not matter. But for a Vedantin, it does not matter. When the mind is in a state of volition, it is mind. When the mind is in a state of decision, Nischayatmika Buddhi, it is called as intellect. That is what we call as Vijnanamaya Kosha. Mind, it is only separated for our understanding. Mind becomes intellect or vice versa, depending on which state the flow of the thought is. If the flow of thought is in a state of flux, it is still mind. If it is in a decision, sankalpa, nischaya, determination, all this indicate it is in intellect. So the ignorance of the self first manifests as I am the doer. Aham karta. I am finite. I am limited. That aham vritti happens in the mind. Then the other notions come in, that I am tall, I am hungry, all the other outer precincts, and the identifications start to come. So in short, Pranamaya Kosha is endowed with the power to act. We call it Kriya Shaktiman. Manomaya kosha is endowed with the power to desire. Hence it is called as Icha Shaktiman. And Vijnanamaya kosha, intellectual sheath, is endowed with the power of knowledge. And hence it is called as Jnana Shaktiman. Then we will go into the innermost layer or the sheath called the bliss sheath. It is called as Anandamaya Kosha. It is the innermost of the 5 sheaths. Therefore, it is most subtle. It consists exclusively of all our vasanas. Therefore, it is most subtle. It is in an unmanifest state. It consists of all our innate tendencies before they are grossified into thoughts and actions. And we experience this Koshananda in that state of deep sleep. Every night, in this Ajnana Nidra, we experience that state of bliss. This is not the same as that of infinite bliss, but this is Koshananda, not Atmananda. Our Puja Guruji always says that this is like the candy in one wrapper, and you still chew on it, you get a little bit of sweetness. You have to uncover that to enjoy the bliss. This type of Koshananda has 3 gradations. For example, whenever you think of an object or a person that you like, let us take our favorite ice cream as an example, a flavor of your own choice. The very thought makes you joyous. That Koshananda is called as Priya. And you go to the store, you procure that object, or you gain that favorite flavor of your ice cream, or meet the person that you enjoy meeting. The joy increases. That is called as moda. Then you come home and you take that scoop and enjoy that favorite flavor of your ice cream. And when you experience that object of your choice and you become one with it, that Koshananda is called as Pramoda. So we have 3 gradations of this happiness, Priya, Moda, Pramoda. Three gradations. We call it Taratamya. You didn't come to this morning class to learn about how we are made up of. What are these five koshas? You came to learn how do we transcend the five sheets. As you know, beyond the five sheets, the foot sheet, vital air sheet, mental sheet, intellectual sheet, bliss sheet, is the Atman, represented by Om, the core of our personality. Five sheets are as though a dress worn by the self and is different from the wearer. In Vedanta, whenever we say vital air sheath is or pranamaya kosha is within the foot sheath, is subtler than the foot sheath. When we say that, the innermost layer or innermost may lead to one thinking that self is this minute or hidden thing in these five sheets. Let me clarify that. Within Vedanta, when you understand the inner one is subtler than the outer, it means that the inner is subtler and more pervasive. And the subtler controls the grosser. It is called Niyama Niyamika Sambandha. For example, the foot sheath is grosser than the vital air sheath, is subtler, and mental sheath is subtler than the pranamaya kosha. Manomaya is subtler than pranamaya because with your mind you can travel far and wide, more pervasive. And Manomaya operates in the realm of the known, whereas intellectual sheath operates in the realm of the unknown. The fields of knowledge goes beyond the physical comprehension of an individual. So the inner one is subtler than the outer, and the subtler controls the grosser. So the intellectual sheath is much more subtler than the mental sheath, goes beyond the realms of the unknown areas of thought. So Atman is not this minute particle hidden in these five sheets. In fact, that is the one which provides sentiency to the matter envelopment. The self or the Atman pervades all the sheets. That is why we call it all pervading Atman. It is infinite. It is all pervading. Now, how do I negate this self, negate this sheets to unveil the self? I will touch upon briefly in this class. It is called as Atma Anatma Viveka. Adi Shankaracharya ji gives us two logic. Madiyatvena Gnatam Atma na bhavati. Differentiating me from mine. When I say my car, the car is not me. This is very easy to understand and do. So when the Upanishads talk about neti, neti, not this, not this, in fact, in Taittiriya Upanishad, there is elaborate description of how to reach that self by negation. Then when I say my body is not me. My pranas are not me. My mind is not me. My ignorance is not me, and so on, until you reach a point where you cannot negate any further. The second logic that Adi Shankaracharya ji has given is called Drak Drushya Viveka. The seer and the seen logic, which I will expand when we study that particular text. So because of the effect of the vasanas, the ignorance of the self, what we have done, we have turned our attention. See the arrows pointing outward? Our attention has gone outside for the pleasure of the objects, emotions, and thoughts. They say, even if you are standing in front of the Himalayas, but if you are looking in the other direction, you cannot see even the great mountain like Himalayas. An old Chinese proverb says, it sure will remain dark if you close your eyes. This ajnana, this avidya has created that veil of ignorance, and once we take a U-turn and turn our attention, Kathopanishad calls it Avritta Chakshu, then we are headed in the right direction to reach our true nature. So two logic, and that leads us to the symbolism topic for today. A lot of teenagers, they come and ask, Uncle, how come we don't have any grace prayer in our religion? But we do. Of offering food, when we say, Om Pranaya Swaha, Om Apanaya Swaha, Om Vyanaya Swaha, Om Udanaya Swaha, Om Samanaya Swaha, to make sure we are consuming the food to provide necessary sustenance through the physiological functions. This mantra is from Bhagavad Gita 4-24. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. A very profound mantra. Eat to live, not live to eat. Here, the offerer is divine. The offering is divine. The offer to is divine. So the entire purpose is divine. Very profound prayer, because even at the time of enjoyment, to remember the Lord, that Tera Tujko Arpan, I offer you what is truly yours. That humility, even at the time of enjoyment, is a very profound mantra. So, in this module, we went through the Panchakosha Viveka, how 5 koshas cover our self as though. The logic with which we separate them. In the symbolism, we learned our grace prayer, Brahmarpanam. In the next class, I would like to cover the Shariratraya Viveka, the 3 bodies, the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body. If possible, the 3 states, the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state. And then we map the 5 koshas to these and analyze the path to reality. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. We'll see you all next week, same time, same place. Hari Om.